You ever walk into a room and know right away you're not supposed to fit in? That's how it felt for Julia Bennett the morning she stepped into that glossy high-rise lobby, canvas tote in hand, flats that had seen better days, linen dress wrinkled in all the wrong places, and every eye turned just to make sure she knew it. It was almost funny, the way the saleswoman sized her up, lips tight, voice syrupy but cold, like she was doing Julia a favor just letting her breathe the same air. "These units are for serious buyers," she said, with a side glance at Julia's bag like it was leaking poverty all over the marble floor. All around, you had the usual suspects, men in tailored suits swirling champagne like it was a magic wand, women in dresses with more sparkles than sense, and every single one of them acting like Julia was invisible except when they needed a joke. I swear, you could feel the judgment bouncing off the polished columns. One guy in a navy suit snickered to his date. "Does she think she's at an open house in Jersey?" The laughter rippled out. Not mean exactly, but sharp, like the clink of glassware, like a warning. Julia stood her ground. She didn't try to fit in. She just asked, real quiet, if she could see the penthouse, which only made them smirk harder. "VIPs only," the saleswoman snapped, offering a brochure for the suburbs like a consolation prize. The crowd buzzed. The staff exchanged knowing looks, and somewhere in the background someone muttered about the help dressing better than that. Julia just tucked the brochure into her tote, gave the woman a nod, and moved aside without drama. Not defeated, just still. Let me back up a sec. This wasn't her first rodeo. She'd learned, somewhere along the way, that dignity doesn't need to shout. She stood there, ignored by the staff offering canapes, whispered about by women in lipstick and diamonds, all while the city's wealthiest paraded through the lounge, trading cards and talking penthouses. Even the marketing head strolled over to make it clear the top floor was for serious buyers. But Julia wasn't budging, wasn't arguing, just waiting, like she knew something everyone else didn't. That's when you got the little twist, the unexpected, the shift. Across the lounge, three guys in matching suits and earpieces stepped in, moving with that quiet, dangerous kind of confidence you see in people who don't care about your rules. A hush rolled through the crowd. It was the kind of moment that makes you sit up straighter, even if you have no idea why. Then, in walked David Harrison. Not in neon or glitter, just simple, expensive, impossible to miss. You could practically hear the collective gasp as people recognized him, not from this building's ads, but from business headlines, the sort of guy you Google just to see how many zeros are on his net worth. He barely glanced at the fawning staff or the crowd that parted in front of him. His eyes went straight to Julia, waiting in the corridor, standing in that plain old linen dress. He walked up, smiled in that way that's only for someone you know by heart, slipped an arm around her waist, and in a voice the crowd could just barely overhear, asked, "You been waiting long?" The sales staff froze. The folks who'd been laughing a minute ago, their faces drained of color. Every last person who'd written Julia off now realized she was with him. No, scratch that. He was with her. And the penny dropped. She wasn't lost, wasn't some charity case. She was the reason he was there. David turned to the staff, voice calm but sharp as a blade. "I asked you to prepare the penthouse for my wife. Was there a problem?" You could have heard a pin drop. The sales lead stumbled over apologies. Faces went pale. A few people tried to slink away, and the guy in the neon suit looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him. "Escort us to the penthouse," David said, and you'd think they were rolling out a red carpet for royalty. Upstairs, the tour was all nerves and desperate apologies. Every surface shown, every luxury described with the kind of forced enthusiasm that tries to erase everything that happened before. Julia took it in, not gloating, not angry, just herself. She liked the view, asked about simpler flooring, let her hand drift across the glass like she was weighing the whole city in her palm. The manager scribbled notes like her life depended on it. Through it all, David stayed by Julia's side, calm and unbothered, the kind of presence that says, "You matter. Let them see." When they were done, Julia nodded. Yes, this would do. The staff practically fell over themselves, promising to handle every detail. David thanked them, his eyes leaving no doubt this wasn't a day they'd ever forget. Back in the elevator, Julia's tote was still on her shoulder, her flat still scuffed, but she walked taller, and the whole building seemed to tilt on its axis. As they left, the staff parted again, silent, cowed. No one dared offer an apology. None would have been enough. Outside, a black sedan pulled up. David opened the door for Julia, and as they drove away, the city's lights caught in the reflection. There was this feeling in the air, like maybe, just maybe, something had changed for good. Word spread fast. Suddenly, the tower had a new rule. Treat every visitor with respect, no matter what they're wearing or where they came from. A couple of the staff who'd been loudest in mocking Julia found themselves quietly let go. Others started offering genuine courtesy, afraid that the next nobody might be someone who could end their career with a word. And you better believe the story grew legs. Remember the lady in flats? Her husband bought the penthouse. Changed everything. People told it like a fable. Don't judge, don't assume. Julia herself? She just kept living her life. You'd see her sometimes, still in her linen dress, picking up groceries or dropping off a donation. She didn't talk about what happened, didn't need to. Her silence spoke for her, a kind of quiet grace that made even the most skeptical stop and think. Months later, at the housewarming, the place was full of people who suddenly wanted to be her friend. Julia greeted them with the same calm she'd always had. Someone tried to apologize for what they'd said that first day. Julia just smiled, said it was in the past, let it go. And that was the thing. She never demanded an apology, never rubbed their faces in it, just showed them how much better it feels to stand tall and let your dignity do the talking. Now, whenever Julia walks through that lobby, the hush that follows her isn't about shame or fear, it's respect. People remember. Even when the story fades, the lesson doesn't. Sometimes all it takes is one person standing calm in the storm to turn a whole building, maybe even a whole city, towards something better. And if you've ever felt judged for how you look or where you come from, let Julia's story remind you. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. Let your stillness be your power. If you've ever seen this happen or lived it, drop your thoughts below. What's justice? What's pride? And what's the real measure of a person? Let's talk about it.